She told me I was boring. Not cruel, not lazy, just boring. After everything I provided, the house, the bills, the meals, the peace. She looked me in the eyes and said those words like spitting out old gum. 2 weeks later, she collapsed right there in the hallway. And when she begged me for help, I said no. Folks, Uncle Mickle here. I don't take pride in that moment, but I won't pretend it didn't happen either. This story ain't about revenge for the sake of pain. It's about a man who gave everything, until the woman he loved forgot what everything meant. Before I get into this, do me a favor and drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from, and what time it is right now. And if stories like mine hit you where it hurts, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. Helps Uncle Mickle keep bringing you the truth nobody else wants to talk about. Now let me take you back, before the shouting, before the silence, before the night. She fell like a wet towel and realized life wasn't as easy as she thought. It started 3 years ago, in a small town just outside Dallas. Quiet streets, good neighbors, Friday night barbecues. The kind of place where porch lights stay on late and everybody waves whether they know you or not. I was a working man then. Still am. Contract electrician, long hours, sore back, steady income. Nothing fancy but enough to keep lights on, fridge stocked, and a roof no rain could slip through. My wife's name was Emily. Sweet girl when we married, laughed at my bad jokes, made me coffee before work, hugged me like she never wanted to let go. For years we lived simple and happy, and I thought happiness was all a man really needed. But looking back, I realized something. Happiness can spoil when taken for granted, and comfort can kill love slowly, like rust on clean metal. Every evening I come home tired, boots dusty, hands rough with work. She'd greet me at the door, kiss my cheek, ask how my day was. We'd eat dinner together. I cooked most nights. She cleaned up. It was a rhythm, a routine. Maybe too routine. Back then, I believed routine was love. Stability was love. But she wanted sparks, fireworks, surprises. She wanted something more, even if she never said it out loud. Still, I didn't see trouble coming. Not then. One night after dinner, I sat on the sofa watching some old Western rerun. Emily came in wearing a new dress, blue, tight at the waist, hair curled like she stepped out of a magazine. She looked stunning. I whistled, told her she looked like trouble in heels. She smiled but not at me, more like past me, like she was thinking of someone I wasn't. I asked where she was going. She said, out with the girls. No big deal. She'd gone out before. I trusted her, maybe too much. She came home late, real late, perfume different, hair messy, not suspicious enough to accuse, but enough to wake something in my gut. A quiet voice saying, watch carefully, something has shifted. But I brushed it aside. Told myself marriage goes through phases. Told myself she deserved fun. Told myself I was just tired. Funny thing, when you ignore your gut, life makes sure you hear it later louder. Next morning she was distant, short answers, eyes glued to her phone. And when I kissed her goodbye, she barely leaned in. Felt like hugging a mannequin. No warmth, just skin. I didn't understand it then, but that small moment was the first crack. A crack that would split our home wide open. And that wasn't even the worst part. Life kept rolling the way it does, slow, predictable, unaware of the storm building on the horizon. Back then, I still believed Emily and I were solid. I'd tell folks at work how lucky I was to have a wife like her. A home-cooked life, simple and warm. The kind of life my daddy used to say people spend decades chasing. Most mornings started the same. I'd get up before sunrise, slip out of bed quietly so she could sleep, brew my coffee, and fry eggs the way she liked. Run a yolk, sprinkle of paprika. I packed my lunch, left hers in the fridge with a note. Have a good day, Em. Love you. She used to reply, with heart stickers on the note. But lately, the notes came back untouched, or tossed in the trash like grocery receipts. Still, I ignored it. At work, I'd climb ladders, pull wires through dusty ceilings, fix junction boxes most folks never even think about. Hard work, but honest. The type of work that leaves you tired in the body, but clean in the soul. I'd come home sore, but smiling, knowing she waited for me. Or so I thought. Evenings were quiet. Too quiet. She started spending them in the bedroom with the door cracked, scrolling her phone with that little half-smirk on her face, the one she used to give me. I'd call from the kitchen. "Dinner's ready." She'd come out slow, touch her hair, ask, "What are we watching?" But her eyes never settled on the TV. They wandered, restless. I should have asked what she was looking for. Instead, I tried harder. I surprised her with flowers one Friday, lilies, her favorite. She smiled, thanked me politely, placed them in a vase, and never touched them again. They wilted untouched on the dining table. Like effort unappreciated. Like love unattended. A small thing, sure, but small things matter. Small things reveal truth louder than big ones. One evening we sat on the porch as the sky turned that soft Texas orange. I tried talking about work, plans, maybe a vacation, but she stared out at the mailbox instead, like waiting for something to arrive. Finally, she said quietly, "You don't excite me anymore, Mick." Just like that. No warning. No cushion. A sentence as sharp as broken glass. I laughed at first, thinking she was joking. She wasn't. She said I had no spark. Same meals, same routines, same worn boots on the same porch swing. I worked, I cooked, I carried the house on my back, and she called it boring. Boring, she said, a word meant for dull movies or plain wallpaper. But she used it on me, on the man who loved her. Quote line for comments. Comfort became my crime. She wanted excitement, not loyalty. I asked what she wanted. She shrugged. I don't know, more life, more passion. Then she walked inside, leaving me alone with the crickets. I sat there long after the porch light clicked on, thinking, hurting, wondering since when love required entertainment. But I didn't confront her. Instead, I doubled down. Funny how the heart works. When it feels rejected, it tries to prove it's worthy. So I planned date nights, booked restaurants, cooked new meals, cleaned the house spotless before she woke. I bought new clothes, tried new colognes, shaved the beard she once said she loved, trying to be the man she wanted, even when she wouldn't tell me who that man was. She noticed, but not the way I hoped. Instead of appreciation, I saw irritation. Like effort itself annoyed her. Like happiness was a garment she'd outgrown. One night she said, "Why are you trying so hard?" I froze, because I thought that's what love meant, trying. But she didn't want effort. She wanted novelty, attention, drama. And slowly, she started finding it elsewhere. In late texts, new outfits, girls' night out twice a week. Then 3. The smell of different perfume when she got home. Laughter through the phone when she thought I couldn't hear. Whispers, secrets, silences. I felt it, deep down. Something was slipping, and if I didn't grab it soon, I'd lose it completely. But I had no idea just how far gone she was. And what I'd discover next would break me in half. The shift didn't happen all at once. It came like a slow leak, drip by drip, until one day I realized the floor beneath my marriage was soaked, and I hadn't even noticed the water rising. A week after that porch conversation, I came home early from a job. Storm knocked power out across half the county, so we wrapped up by noon. I thought I'd surprise her, lunch together, maybe catch a movie if the weather cleared. Something simple, something normal. When I walked through the door, the house was quiet, too quiet. Emily wasn't in the kitchen, not in the living room either. Her purse was gone. I figured she stepped out for groceries or maybe a spa appointment. She'd been going often lately. I made myself a sandwich, turned on the TV, waited. 2 hours passed. Then 3. Then my phone buzzed, a short text. Out with friends. Don't wait up. Just like that. No heart. No call. No explanation. A strange discomfort settled in my stomach. Not jealousy. Not anger. Just a knowing. Later that night, she came home smelling like cologne, not mine. A faint, musky scent clinging to her dress like wet leaves. Her hair was wind-tossed, cheeks flushed. And when she saw me awake, she looked startled. Not guilty, startled. Like she didn't expect me to witness that version of her. I asked how her night was. She brushed past me, kicked off her heels. Fun. I'm tired. No details. No stories. No smiles for me. She went straight to the shower. Door locked. That click, that tiny lock, was louder than thunder, because in 7 years of marriage, she had never locked the bathroom door. That's when my gut started talking again. And this time I listened. The next few days, I observed quietly, not snooping, just paying attention. Her phone now lived upside down on the table. Notifications off. Face always turned away from me, like I wasn't meant to see the screen glow. She laughed at her phone more than she laughed with me. Messages came late, 10 p.m., 11 p.m., midnight. She'd smile down at the screen, with that same half-smirk that used to belong to me. One night I heard her whispering soft, hushed words through the crack of the bedroom door. I approached, not barging in, just listening. She said, "No, he won't know. He never notices anything." Quote line for viewers to comment. He won't know. He never notices. Her voice had a sweetness in it, but not the sweetness she gave me. A different tone. A tone meant for someone special. When I stepped inside, she jumped, quickly ending the call. "Oh hey, it was just Jenna," she said too fast. Jenna usually put her on speaker, loud and chaotic. This call was quiet, intimate, but I didn't call her out, didn't yell, didn't accuse. Instead, I just said, "Dinner's getting cold." She nodded without looking up. That night, lying in bed, I stared at the ceiling while she scrolled her phone under the covers, thinking she was being discreet. The screen light reflected in her eyes like tiny fires, fires I hadn't lit. Something was happening, and the not knowing was worse than knowing. The turning point came the next Saturday. I'd gone to fix wiring at a rental property. On the ride home, I grabbed her favorite pastries from the bakery, cinnamon twists, fresh and warm. I felt good, hopeful even. But when I walked in, I found a second wine glass on the counter, still wet. Fresh lipstick mark on the rim, coral pink. She never wore coral pink. I stood there, pastries cooling in my hands, listening. Silence. No footsteps. No voices. Just the faint smell of cologne lingering like a ghost that wasn't mine. When she came downstairs, hair damp, cheeks rosy like she rushed to freshen up, she froze. Her eyes flicked to the wine glasses, then to me. Our eyes locked. 1 second. 2, 3, and she said the words that confirmed nothing, yet meant everything. "Why are you home so early?" Not hi. Not I missed you. Just suspicion about MY presence in MY home. I set the pastries down gently, my voice calm, but my heart hammering. I thought we could spend the afternoon together. She swallowed, hard, like the truth was stuck in her throat. "Oh, I'm actually meeting friends soon." Again. Friends. Always friends. But the lipstick stain said otherwise. The locked bathroom. The late nights. The perfume. The hush. The signs were stacking up like unpaid bills. And deep inside I knew I needed answers. Because a man can carry a home on his back, but he shouldn't have to carry doubt alone. What came next would break the illusion completely. And once a man sees the truth, he can never unsee it. It's strange how a house feels different when trust starts leaking out of it. The same walls stand, same furniture sits, same pictures smile down from frames, but something invisible shifts. Air gets heavier. Silence gets louder. That's how it felt in our home during those weeks. I wasn't looking to catch Emily doing something wrong. I only wanted reassurance. Any sign that I was still her husband and not just a roommate who funded her lifestyle. But proof has a way of showing up when a man stops looking away from the obvious. One evening I came home earlier than usual. I had lost my charger that morning, and I figured maybe it slipped behind the dresser. Emily was in the shower humming softly, steam rolling under the bathroom door. Her phone lay on the nightstand, screen lighting up every few seconds from notification vibrations. Normally, I would have ignored it. That's how I was raised. Privacy means trust. You don't search someone's phone if you believe in them. But my hand moved before the part of me that loved her could stop it. I just tapped the screen. Not a snooping gesture, more like a reflex. There it was. A message preview so short, so harmless looking, yet enough to make my pulse jump like someone hit me with a defibrillator. "I miss you already." I stared at it, feeling heat crawl behind my ears. Another message popped up, and I watched it without touching anything. Friday can't come fast enough. My mind went blank first, then flooded. Maybe someone texting wrong. Maybe an old friend. Maybe family. A man starts building excuses faster than pain can catch him. But my thumb tapped the screen again, and the phone unlocked easily. No passcode. No fingerprint. Just open like it always was. Only difference was, for the first time, I had a reason to look inside. Her chats with a man named Ryan sat right at the top. I opened it. Not explicit photos. Not dirty messages. But worse in a quiet kind of way. Compliments. Long conversations late at night. Shared jokes. Smiling selfies. Voice notes where she giggled softly. A type of giggle I hadn't heard directed at me in a long time. And lines that cut deep in a different way. He's good, just the same every day. You make me feel alive again. I like talking to you more than I should. I didn't feel rage. Not then. What I felt first was this empty sinking. The kind that hollows out a man's chest. It's one thing to lose love. It's another to watch it being handed to someone else like spare change. She stepped out of the bathroom minutes later. Towel wrapped around her body. Still humming. That sound used to make me smile. Now it stung like salt. She froze when she saw the phone in my hand. Her face drained. Eyes darting from me to the screen, like she'd walked into a crime scene she never prepared a story for. She didn't grab it. Didn't scream. Didn't deny right away. Just whispered, "Mick, why are you looking through my phone?" I didn't respond with anger. I didn't yell. I just asked her one question, slow and calm, because I needed truth more than revenge. Who was Ryan? Her breath hitched. She sat down on the edge of the bed, like her legs couldn't carry her. She talked, in broken pieces, saying she felt lonely, unnoticed, routine, stuck. How their conversations just happened. How she didn't mean for things to go too far. How it was emotional, not physical. How she just needed excitement, someone to talk to, someone who understood her. I listened without interrupting, staring at her wet footprints on the carpet instead of her face. I kept waiting for a but. For something that could make sense of it. Something that could soften the wound. It never came. When she finished explaining, the room stayed quiet for a long time. She reached for my hand. I moved mine away. Not out of hate. Just because it felt wrong letting the same hand that touched another man's name hold mine, like nothing had changed. I walked downstairs slowly, each step feeling heavier. I sat at the kitchen table staring at nothing, realizing I wasn't crying. I wasn't shouting. I was just empty. That was somehow more painful. That night I didn't sleep beside her. I chose the couch, staring up into the dark, while she breathed softly upstairs, like a stranger living under the same roof. I thought about our years together. How trust slips away not in explosions, but in whispers, secrets, late-night messages, and locked doors. And as dawn came through the blinds, I made a decision I never imagined making. If she felt life with me was too easy, too predictable, too safe, then she was about to learn what happens when a man like me finally stops giving. Morning light always makes truth look sharper. I woke before the sun, neck stiff from the couch, blanket half on the floor. I sat up slow, rubbing my face with both hands, not from tiredness, but from the weight of everything I'd seen last night. The kind of weight a man doesn't drop just by sleeping. The house was still, quiet enough to hear the refrigerator hum. I used to love mornings like that, peaceful, warm, full of routine. But now that same routine felt like chains. Emily came downstairs around 8, hair still damp but face freshly done, like she'd spent extra time preparing how she'd look when she faced me. She made coffee without saying good morning, stirring sugar slowly, as if waiting for me to speak first. I didn't. Finally she sat across from me, fingers wrapped around her mug. She looked small, nervous, not defiant like last night, more like someone waiting for a verdict. "Mick, we should talk," she said quietly. I nodded once. Let her speak. She apologized, the long, trembling kind of apology. Told me she never meant to fall for someone else's attention, that she just missed feeling special, that she felt I settled into comfort and stopped appreciating her. She said she felt invisible sometimes, like I was present but not present. Maybe some of that was true. Marriage is hard, and routine can dull the edges of romance if you don't sharpen it. I take responsibility for my part, but betrayal wasn't the answer. She could have talked to me. She could have cried to me. She could have said she was lonely. Instead, she handed her heart to someone waiting outside our marriage, like a thief leaning over a broken window. "I want to fix this," she said, voice barely holding steady. "I want us back." Years ago, I would have reached across that table, held her, promised to try harder. But something inside me had shifted. Pain has a way of cooling into clarity, and in that clarity, I understood something. Love shouldn't have to beg for respect. I told her calmly, "I'll think about it." No anger, no accusations, just distance, enough for her to feel it. The look in her eyes said she expected me to fight for her, to reassure her, to plead. But I didn't, because last night taught me something heavy. Sometimes giving more only teaches people to expect without appreciating. So that day I changed. When I went to work, I left without making her breakfast. I didn't kiss her goodbye. I didn't text home soon. I just worked my shift, came back, and instead of heading to the kitchen like I always did, I sat on the couch, watched TV, and let her figure dinner out. She stood in the doorway, waiting, confused, almost helpless. "You're not cooking?" she asked. "No," I answered simply. "I'm tired." It wasn't revenge. It was adjustment. She called me boring for doing everything. So I stopped doing everything. Laundry basket? Stayed full. Garbage? I walked past it. Bills? I paid nothing that month. Left envelopes on the table untouched. Groceries? I bought only what I needed personally. Eggs, bread, black coffee. I ate simple. Cleaned only my dishes. No effort. No gestures. No flowers. I gave silence where I once gave comfort. Not out of cruelty, but out of clarity. I wanted her to feel the work I carried. Not hear it. Not discuss it. Feel it. For the first time, she cooked dinner. Burnt chicken and undersalted rice. But she tried. She asked if I liked it. I nodded politely, nothing more. She waited for praise. I didn't give it. I wasn't cruel, just quiet. Respectfully distant. Days passed like that. She grew restless. Her makeup routine shortened. Phone stayed face up now, but I didn't look. She checked on me more, asking if I needed anything. Funny how people value presence when they fear losing it. One evening she sat beside me on the couch, hands folded tight. "I feel like I'm losing you," she whispered. I looked at her, calm, steady. "You didn't feel that when you were messaging him." Tears filled her eyes quick. She reached for my hand. I let her touch it, but my fingers didn't curl back around hers. That was the moment she realized the shift. You can almost see when a person understands the cost of their choices, like a shadow crossing their expression. The house that once felt like ours now felt like hers plus me, and she was finally noticing the difference. But I wasn't done. Not yet, because consequences move slow before they strike fast. And the moment she collapsed, the moment she understood exactly what life without my effort meant, was closer than either of us knew. 2 weeks. That's how long it took for the balance to flip. The first few days, Emily tried brushing off my change like a mood swing, bringing home takeout, asking if I wanted to go out, wearing those dresses she used to reserve for date nights. I responded politely, never rude, but never enthusiastic. Neutral, measured, present, but no longer carrying the relationship on my back. It unnerved her, because it made her face the weight I'd been lifting alone. Slowly, the house began reflecting the truth. Work clothes remained unfolded where she left them on the chair. Dirty dishes sat in the sink an extra day then too. The bills stacked on the counter unopened. Laundry baskets filled, towels gone from the closet. Fridge looked emptier every time someone opened it. She noticed, visibly. The confident woman who once walked through the house like she owned the place now moved like she wasn't sure which room belonged to her. The silence between us was no longer distant, it was loud. By the end of week 1, she cooked every night. Not because I asked, but because if she didn't, we didn't eat. I'd come home, nod a greeting, shower, sit at the table and wait. No reminders, no questions, just letting natural consequence teach what lectures never could. One night, After a dinner she burned slightly, she sat down across from me and said, "I never realized how much you do. I took it for granted." I listened, but I didn't soften. Not yet. Week 2 hit harder. She started waking up early, trying to beat me to tasks, laundry running by sunrise, breakfast waiting on the table. But stress was showing in her eyes. She was constantly checking her phone, deleting messages, blocking numbers, then unblocking them, panic beneath every action. She kept asking if we were okay, but I responded with the same calm line. "I'm here." Not comforting, not promising, just truth. I was physically present. Emotionally, she had to earn that back. The collapse happened on a Thursday. I came home from work, boots covered in dust, shirt damp with sweat. Emily was pacing the living room with papers in her hand, bills overdue, final notices highlighted in red. She hadn't figured out online payments, budgeting, auto payments, things I always handle without praise or complaint. She tried calling the electric company 3 times. They needed account verification. She didn't know. Her voice shook. Hands shook. When I walked past her toward the kitchen, she stepped in front of me. "Mick, I need your help," she said, voice tight with panic. I opened the fridge. Nothing but eggs and mustard. My stomach growled. She hadn't cooked. She hadn't eaten either. Her breathing was shallow, shoulders rising too fast. I could see exhaustion carved into her face, makeup smudged, hair messy, eyes red from crying or lack of sleep or both. She whispered, "Please, I can't do this alone." I cracked 2 eggs into a pan for myself, calm as still water. She stared like she expected me to jump in, fix it all like I always had, turn into the man she once called boring for being reliable. But reliability isn't boring until it disappears. Her hand trembled over the stack of bills. She looked from them to me, once, twice. Then her knees gave out. She dropped right there on the kitchen floor, palms slapping tile, breath catching like she couldn't pull air. "Mick, I'm dizzy," she choked out, voice fragile, scared, human. She collapsed fully, body limp to one side. For a moment, I just watched, not with cruelty, but with a kind of stunned realization. I had been holding up everything. When I stepped back, the whole structure fell. She looked up at me from the floor, eyes glassy, whispering, "Help me, please." I crouched beside her slowly. No rush, the way she had no rush when I begged for attention months earlier. I looked her in the eyes, voice low, steady. "You told me I was boring. You said I did too much. So I stopped." Her lip trembled. Tears spilled fast. Breath shallow. "I'm sorry," she sobbed, voice cracking like something in her chest finally broke. "I didn't know it was you holding everything together. I didn't know." I stood up, looked down at the woman who once believed stability was dull. And for the first time, I said the word she never expected. "You need to learn to stand without me carrying you." Then calmly, I finished cooking my eggs while she lay there, realizing exactly what she had lost. And that moment changed everything. I finished my food in silence, not rushing, not ignoring her, just not stepping in like I used to. When I was done, I rinsed my plate, placed it on the rack, and walked past her. She slowly pushed herself up, legs shaky, one hand gripping the counter for balance. She looked smaller than I had ever seen her, not in size, but in spirit. That night she didn't sleep in our bed. She lay curled on the couch, blanket pulled up to her chin. I walked by just once to get water, and found her staring into the dark with wide, empty eyes. I didn't say anything. Sometimes silence carries truth louder than any lesson. Next morning, she woke before me again, but this time not to impress, to survive. Breakfast was already made, but her hands trembled while placing the plate in front of me. She didn't sit across like usual. She stood there waiting, uncertain, like a student hoping the teacher would say she finally got the answer right. "Eat with me," I said quietly. Her shoulders loosened with relief. She sat, not confidently, but humbly. For the first time in months, she looked at me fully, not through me, not around me, at me, like she remembered who I was. Days slowed down after that. She started taking responsibility, real responsibility. She called the utility companies again, speaking with patience instead of panic. She learned how to pay bills, how to budget, how to grocery shop without buying only snacks and sparkling waters. She folded clothes neatly, hung shirts instead of throwing them across chairs. She cooked meals from recipes she printed herself, asking what I liked instead of assuming. For a while I didn't react. Not cold, just steady. Healing is slow work. Sometimes she broke down in small ways, wiping tears quietly at the sink, pausing in the hallway like she forgot how to breathe, standing in the doorway of our room as if asking permission to walk back into the life she stepped out of. She apologized often. Not dramatic speeches, small, sincere ones. I'm sorry for taking you for granted. I'm sorry for making you feel less. I'm sorry for not seeing you. I heard them. I let them land. Slowly. We talked more, real conversations, not defensive arguments. She told me she chased excitement because routine felt like boredom. She didn't realize routine was stability. Work, effort, love and action, not fireworks. She admitted she thought romance meant constant novelty, not partnership built bit by bit. I wasn't innocent either. I had built comfort so solid that I forgot to invite surprise, forgot to speak love out loud, believing acts alone were enough. I showed love, but didn't voice it often. We reflected, separately at first, then together, not as lovers trying to fix what shattered overnight, but as two adults acknowledging consequences. The messages with Ryan ended. I didn't demand it. She deleted them on her own. She blocked him, changed her gym schedule, even switched apartments at work voluntarily. Not to earn points, but to prove something to herself as much as to me. Trust doesn't regrow fast. It grows like grass after drought, slow, fragile, needing attention. But I could see her trying. Really trying. One evening weeks later, she sat beside me on the porch, the same porch where she once told me I was boring. Sunset washed the sky orange again, just like that day. But this time she didn't stare past me. She looked at me. "Mick," she said softly. "Thank you for not yelling. Thank you for not leaving. Thank you for showing me what life looks like without your effort. I never want to feel that emptiness again." I nodded. Didn't rush to forgive. Didn't cling. Just listened. Because forgiveness isn't a switch. It's a bridge, and we were only steps onto it. I reached for her hand, slow, intentional. This time she didn't grab desperately. She held gently, with respect. Not possession. Not entitlement. Just connection. We sat like that, quiet, breathing the same evening air. Not fixed, but healing. And somewhere in that silence, I felt something loosen inside me. A knot untying. Pain melting into understanding. She fell apart. I stepped back. We met again in the middle, different people than before. Marriage didn't return to what it was. It grew into something new, scarred, wiser, humbler, and strangely better. But before I share what I want you, the listener, to take from this, let me finish the last part. Because what I learned from this pain, about love, value, and being a man, changed me forever. We rebuilt slowly after that, not by pretending nothing happened, but by acknowledging everything that did. Trust came back in pieces. She earned it through consistency, not apologies. I gave it back through patience, not vengeance. We started taking evening walks, short at first. Sometimes we talked. Sometimes we held silence like a shared blanket. She began asking how my day was with real interest. I started telling her things I used to keep inside, not burdens, but pieces of thought she had forgotten to notice. Some nights we cooked together, she chopping vegetables, me seasoning chicken the way I always had. She started leaning into me while stirring pots, not for show, but for comfort. Familiarity returned, softer this time, not assumed. Did everything magically fix? No. There were days of doubt, moments where the past whispered at the edges. But it no longer controlled every breath. That's the thing about pain. When handled right, it doesn't poison, it teaches. Ryan faded out of our life, like a shadow at noon. No more messages. No more attention escapes. She saw what stability really meant, not boredom, not dullness, but foundation. The foundation she once mistook for plainness. And I learned too. I learned to speak love, instead of only acting it. I learned that even solid homes need fresh paint sometimes. A surprise date, a new recipe, A simple, "You look beautiful today." Little sparks that keep the fire warm. But I also learned this: a man should give from strength, not from fear of losing. When you start giving to prove worth, you trade self-respect for approval. I will never live that way again. Weeks turned to months. One night she lay her head on my chest and whispered, "Thank you for not giving up on us." I stroked her hair slowly and replied, "Thank you for learning what mattered." It wasn't triumphant. It was real. We didn't become perfect. We became aware. Aware of fragility. Aware of effort. Aware that love isn't loud promises. It's daily choices. And maybe that's what growing up in love looks like. Two imperfect people choosing each other again, now knowing exactly what the cost of neglect feels like. So that's my story, folks. If it resonated with you, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments where you're listening from. I want to know how far Uncle Mickle's voice travels. Before I go, let me leave you with the one truth I earned through fire. Love doesn't die from lack of passion. It dies from lack of appreciation. But it can be reborn when two people finally decide to value what they almost lost.